The most attractive men don't chase. They watch, they wait, and they make her come to them. The power of subtle seduction. Why true attraction is psychological. Most men believe that attraction is all about flashy gestures, grand displays of confidence, or rehearsed pickup lines. However, the reality is much more subtle. True seduction is not loud, aggressive, or even intentional. It is a psychological dance that operates beneath the surface, in the realm of body language, micro-expressions, and unspoken signals. Women rarely announce their desires outright. Instead, they communicate interest through small, deliberate cues. The challenge is that most men, blinded by their own ego or desperation, fail to recognize these signals. This is where the Stoic man has an undeniable advantage. Stoicism is not about emotional detachment, but about mastery of one's emotions and environment. The Stoic man observes before he acts, never rushing or allowing his emotions to dictate his behavior. This level of awareness makes him immune to the common mistakes most men make when interpreting a woman's interest. While the average man misreads signals, either assuming too much or missing them altogether, the Stoic man reads them with clarity and patience, knowing exactly when to act and when to hold back. This ability gives him an aura of confidence that naturally draws women toward him. Scientific studies on human attraction confirm that seduction often unfolds in fleeting, nearly imperceptible moments. A lingering glance, a slight change in vocal tone, or a subconscious shift in proximity, all these are powerful indicators of attraction that most men overlook. Women, being highly intuitive and socially aware, often test a man's perception by sending out these nonverbal cues. If he is too eager and reacts impulsively, he comes across as desperate. If he remains indifferent and unaware, he appears disinterested. But if he balances patience with presence, acknowledging signals without rushing to act, he creates a sense of intrigue that makes him incredibly compelling. One of the most powerful tools of silent seduction is prolonged eye contact. When a woman holds a man's gaze for more than a few seconds, she is engaging in a nonverbal conversation, signaling a level of emotional openness and interest. Studies show that sustained eye contact increases oxytocin levels, strengthening feelings of connection and trust. The Stoic man does not break eye contact nervously, nor does he force it to appear dominant. Instead, he meets her gaze with calm intensity, allowing her to feel his presence without overwhelming her. This quiet confidence leaves a lasting impression, making her naturally more drawn to him. Another key element of attraction is physical proximity. A woman who is interested in a man will find ways to be near him, even if she never verbalizes her intentions. She might stand closer than necessary, lean in during conversation, or position herself so that casual contact becomes inevitable. The Stoic man does not misinterpret these moments by assuming instant attraction. Instead, he allows the interaction to unfold organically, neither pulling away nor moving too quickly. His ability to remain composed in these moments amplifies the tension, making the attraction even stronger. Ultimately, the secret to effortless seduction lies in the ability to recognize and interpret these subtle cues while maintaining an air of self-assured detachment. Women are naturally drawn to men who do not seek their validation, who are comfortable in their own presence, and who exude quiet confidence. The Stoic man embodies these traits, making him stand out in a world where most men either chase too hard or fail to notice the opportunities right in front of them. The silent language of proximity. How space signals. Attraction. Attraction is rarely expressed in words. It unfolds in silence, through unspoken cues and subconscious movements. One of the most overlooked yet powerful indicators of interest is proximity. A woman who is drawn to a man will often find ways to be near him, even without consciously realizing it. Unlike men who tend to express attraction through direct actions, women communicate interest through subtle spatial cues, leaning in slightly, standing closer than necessary, or brushing against him in ways that seem accidental but are often very intentional. The problem is that most men are either too oblivious to notice these signs, or they overreact, misinterpreting them as a green light for immediate escalation. This is where the Stoic man holds an advantage. He observes, he interprets, and most importantly, he does not act impulsively. From a psychological standpoint, proximity is one of the strongest indicators of comfort and attraction. According to Edward Hall's theory of proxemics, human interactions can be divided into 4 distinct spatial zones: public, social, personal, and intimate. When a woman consistently places herself within a man's personal space, typically between 18 inches to 4 feet, it is often a subconscious signal of interest. However, the key to understanding these signals is recognizing the difference between accidental proximity and deliberate intention. A woman who is attracted to a man will not just stand close to him once. She will find excuses to be near him repeatedly. Whether it's sitting next to him in a group setting, leaning in while speaking, or positioning herself in his vicinity even when other options are available, these subtle behaviors indicate a deeper level of attraction. The mistake many men make is either overanalyzing these cues or reacting too quickly. A reactive man sees a woman standing close to him and assumes it is an invitation to make a move, often leading to an awkward or rushed escalation that kills the attraction. On the other hand, a man who lacks awareness entirely may miss these signals, failing to capitalize on the moment and leaving the woman feeling unnoticed. The Stoic man, however, does neither. He remains grounded, acknowledging her proximity without acting desperate or overeager. He allows her actions to unfold naturally, maintaining his composure and control. This non-reactive presence makes him more desirable, as it signals that he is not easily swayed by external circumstances. Another key aspect of proximity is body orientation. A woman who is interested in a man will not only stand close to him, but will angle her body towards him. This is an unconscious behavior rooted in psychology. When we are engaged with someone we find attractive, our body naturally shifts in their direction. If she consistently faces him, even in a crowded room, it is a clear sign that she is prioritizing his presence. Likewise, incidental contact, a brush of her arm, a light touch on his hand, or even a playful nudge, can indicate attraction if repeated over time. The power of Stoic observation lies in patience. A man who embodies Stoicism does not jump to conclusions or misread a situation. Instead, he watches, he waits, and he responds only when the moment is right. By remaining composed in the face of subtle attraction, he builds tension rather than dissipating it, making himself infinitely more intriguing. Women are drawn to men who do not react impulsively, but instead project control over their emotions and environment. This is what separates the ordinary from the truly magnetic. The subtle power of touch, how women communicate desire. Without words, touch is one of the most powerful, instinctive forms of human connection. Long before language developed, physical contact was how humans expressed everything from comfort and dominance to attraction and desire. Even today, in the modern world filled with texting, social media, and verbal communication, nothing overrides the primal impact of physical touch. The way a woman touches a man, whether subtly or deliberately, reveals far more than her words ever could. Yet most men either misinterpret these signals, overreact to them, or fail to notice them at all. Understanding the psychology of touch allows a man to decode the silent language of attraction with precision. From a scientific standpoint, physical touch activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals responsible for pleasure, emotional bonding, and even addiction. Researchers have found that even a seemingly accidental touch can increase feelings of closeness and attraction. However, unlike men who are often direct in their advances, women are masters of subtlety when it comes to physical touch. Instead of an overt display of interest, a woman will often test a man's awareness through fleeting contact, seeing how he responds, gauging his level of confidence, and deciding whether he is someone who understands the silent game of attraction. The subtlety of female touch, testing boundaries. Most men expect attraction to be clear and obvious. If a woman likes them, they assume she will simply say it or make an overt move. But in reality, attraction, especially for women, unfolds in micro-signals. These tiny, seemingly insignificant gestures create a slow build-up of tension that, if played correctly, can transform into something undeniable. Here are some of the most common yet overlooked forms of female touch that indicate attraction. 1. Incidental grazes. This is one of the most common ways a woman tests a man's awareness and confidence. She might brush against his arm as she walks by, lightly graze his knee under the table, or let her fingers linger slightly longer than necessary when handing him something. To the unaware man, this seems accidental. After all, people bump into each other all the time. But the truth is, many of these touches are not accidental at all. A woman who is interested in a man will create opportunities for touch without making it obvious. For instance, she may accidentally bump into him while laughing at a joke, lightly touch his forearm while making a point, or find excuses to be physically close to him. These are small, calculated moves to see how he reacts. If he tenses up, pulls away, or appears uncomfortable, she may interpret it as a lack of confidence or disinterest. But if he remains relaxed, acknowledges the touch without overreacting, and allows the moment to unfold naturally, she feels a deeper attraction. 2. Anchoring touches. When a woman places her hand on a man's arm, shoulder, or thigh while speaking, it is a powerful sign of comfort and connection. This type of touch is more deliberate and often used to establish a deeper emotional bond. Women instinctively know that physical touch creates intimacy, and if she is anchoring herself to a man through touch, it means she feels safe and drawn to him. A key example is the lingering hand. A woman who is subtly testing boundaries will often place her hand on a man's forearm or thigh during conversation and leave it there for just a second longer than necessary. This isn't just casual. It is a calculated move to see how he reacts. If he doesn't pull away or react nervously, she will likely escalate her physical cues. 3. Playful pushes and taps. Playful teasing is one of the most underrated but effective forms of flirtation. A woman who is comfortable with a man and wants to create a sense of fun, light-hearted chemistry will often use playful physicality, a soft push on his shoulder, a light slap on the arm, or even a gentle flick of his hair. These gestures may seem innocent, but in reality, they are powerful tools of attraction. Playful touching is often paired with laughter and teasing, creating a dynamic that feels effortless and natural. Women enjoy being around men who can handle playful banter without becoming overly serious or defensive. If she's nudging or lightly hitting him in a teasing manner, it means she is comfortable in his space and is testing how he responds to physical closeness. 4. Lingering contact. One of the strongest indicators of attraction is a touch that lasts longer than expected. If a woman is merely being polite or friendly, her touches will be brief and functional, like a quick handshake or a momentary tap. However, if her touch lingers for just a second too long, it reveals something deeper. Lingering contact can happen in different ways. Holding onto his hand a little longer than necessary after a handshake. Resting her hand on his back while walking together, allowing their legs to stay pressed together without moving away. These moments are not random. They are subtle signals that she is comfortable, engaged, and willing to create physical closeness. The Stoic man's response to female touch. A reactive man might either overanalyze these touches or assume they mean more than they actually do. He may get overly excited and escalate too quickly, breaking the delicate rhythm of attraction. On the other hand, an unaware man might fail to recognize these signals altogether, missing the opportunity to deepen the connection. The Stoic man, however, does neither. He acknowledges the touch without becoming needy or reactive. He remains calm, composed, and in control of his emotions. Here's how a Stoic response to touch creates intrigue. 1. Maintain composure. Instead of jumping to conclusions, he acknowledges the touch with quiet confidence. He doesn't flinch or overreact, showing that he is comfortable in his own skin. 2. Delay reciprocation. Instead of immediately mirroring her touch, he lets the tension build. Women are wired to seek reciprocity, and if a man delays his response, it heightens her anticipation. 3. Escalate. Naturally, the key to attraction is gradual escalation. If a woman repeatedly initiates touch, the Stoic man responds in a measured way, matching her energy without overpowering it. The science behind why touch creates desire. One of the most fascinating aspects of touch is how it bypasses logical thinking and directly influences emotions. Studies in neuroscience show that physical touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone that deepens trust and attachment. This is why even a simple touch on the arm can make a woman feel closer to a man without her fully understanding why. Furthermore, delayed gratification intensifies desire. When a man doesn't immediately act on a woman's touch, it creates a psychological loop. She begins to wonder what he is thinking, whether he is attracted to her, and if he will eventually reciprocate. This uncertainty heightens her attraction, making the moment even more powerful when he finally does respond. Final thoughts. Mastering the art of subtle touch. Understanding how women use touch to communicate attraction is a game changer. Unlike men, who tend to be direct in their advances, women are far more subtle, often testing a man's awareness through micro-touch cues. The Stoic man's power lies in his ability to observe without reacting impulsively. He recognizes her signals but doesn't become desperate for validation. Instead, he allows the natural tension to build, responding with controlled confidence. Attraction is never about forcing a moment. It is about allowing it to unfold naturally. When a man masters his response to touch, he becomes the kind of man women are drawn to effortlessly. The power of vocal attraction. How a woman's voice signals desire. In the world of attraction, most men focus on what they see: physical beauty, body language, and visual cues. But what many fail to realize is that one of the most powerful signals of desire is hidden in the way a woman speaks. A subtle shift in tone, pace, and rhythm can reveal more than words ever could. Women, whether consciously or subconsciously, alter their voices when they are drawn to a man. These changes are not random. They are deeply rooted in psychology and evolutionary biology, designed to pull a man into their world of intimacy and connection. Understanding the vocal cues of attraction allows a man to perceive the unspoken, to recognize when a woman is interested, and to respond in a way that deepens the connection. But this is where most men go wrong. They either miss these signals completely, or they overreact and break the natural flow of attraction. The Stoic man, however, understands that patience and control are the ultimate weapons in seduction. He listens, he observes, and he responds with quiet confidence. The subtle shift in tone. How women use their voices to seduce. A woman's voice is not just a tool for communication, it is a weapon of attraction. Research in evolutionary psychology has found that women naturally lower their pitch when speaking to a man they find attractive. This is because a softer, huskier tone signals warmth, trust, and sensuality. The effect is almost hypnotic, drawing a man in before he even realizes what's happening. But why does this work? The answer lies in neuroscience. A deeper, more intimate tone stimulates dopamine production in the male brain, the same chemical responsible for pleasure and addiction. The calm, slow rhythm of her speech forces a man to lean in, to listen more closely, to feel as if he is being drawn into a private world where only the two of them exist. Recognizing the signs of vocal attraction. Most men fail to recognize when a woman is using her voice to pull them in. They focus too much on the words she says, rather than how she says them. Here are the key vocal cues that signal attraction. 1. Softened volume. If she begins speaking more softly, almost compelling you to move closer, this isn't an accident. She is subtly drawing you into her space, creating intimacy without touching you. 2. Slower pace. Speech that becomes slower and more deliberate is a clear sign of comfort and emotional connection. She is no longer rushing the conversation. She is savoring it. 3. Playful inflection. Teasing or lilting tones indicate flirtation. When a woman adds subtle variations in her voice, emphasizing certain words or dragging out syllables, she is testing the man's awareness and engagement. 4. Exclusive conversations. If her voice shifts in private compared to how she speaks in a group, it is a clear sign that she sees you differently. A more personal, intimate tone means she is emotionally opening up. The Stoic man's response: staying grounded amidst seduction. The biggest mistake men make when faced with a woman's seductive voice is losing composure. Many men, upon noticing a shift in her tone, become overeager. They lean in too quickly, rush their words, or fail to maintain their own vocal control. This breaks the tension and makes them appear too reactive rather than in control. A Stoic man, on the other hand, understands that power lies in restraint. Here's how he responds. 1. He matches her pace. Instead of speeding up or getting flustered, he naturally adjusts his rhythm to match hers. This creates a sense of synchronization, deepening the connection. 2. He maintains a deep, controlled tone. A man who speaks slowly and deliberately without rushing or over-explaining commands attention. His words carry weight, and she feels his presence in every syllable. 3. He pauses for effect. Instead of filling every silence, he lets moments linger. A well-timed pause before responding allows her anticipation to build, making the conversation feel magnetic. 4. He acknowledges without overreacting. If he notices her shifting tone, he doesn't immediately call attention to it. He absorbs the moment, keeping her wondering if he noticed, if he's feeling the same pull. This mystery intensifies the attraction. The psychological power of vocal synchronization. One of the most fascinating aspects of attraction is how people instinctively mirror the voices of those they are drawn to. This phenomenon is known as vocal synchrony, a subconscious alignment of speech patterns, tone, and pace. When two people are deeply connected, their voices begin to match each other, creating a sense of emotional closeness. Women, in particular, are highly attuned to vocal alignment. If a man knows how to control his voice, he can create an irresistible pull. By keeping his voice steady, deep, and slightly slower than hers, he subtly guides the rhythm of the conversation, leading her into a state of deeper connection. The danger of overcompensation. What most men get wrong. While recognizing a woman's vocal signals is powerful, the worst thing a man can do is try too hard to play into them. Many men, in an attempt to sound seductive, force a deeper voice, exaggerate their pauses, or imitate what they think sounds attractive. Women are highly perceptive. They can tell when a man is putting on an act. The key is authenticity. A man who is naturally calm, confident, and grounded doesn't need to force anything. His voice carries authority without aggression, depth without desperation. How to develop a magnetic voice. If you want to cultivate a voice that draws women in effortlessly, here's what you need to do. 1. Practice controlled breathing. The deeper and steadier your breath, the more calm and commanding your voice will sound. 2. Slow down your speech. Speaking too quickly signals nervousness. Instead, take your time. Let your words land with intention. 3. Lower your tone. Naturally, a deep voice isn't about forcing a growl. It's about relaxing your throat and allowing your voice to resonate fully. 4. Use silence as a tool. Don't be afraid of pauses. A well-placed moment of silence can be more powerful than words, making a woman lean in, hang on your every word. 5. Listen more than you speak. A man who absorbs more than he projects creates an air of quiet confidence that women find intoxicating. Final thoughts. The undeniable power of a controlled voice. A woman's vocal shifts are one of the most powerful indicators of attraction and desire. However, most men either miss these signals entirely or respond in a way that kills the tension. The key to mastering the art of vocal attraction is to develop a voice that is calm, confident, and deliberate. The Stoic man does not rush, overreact, or force intimacy. He listens, he observes, and he responds with quiet dominance. When a woman lowers her tone, slows her speech, and invites a deeper connection, the man who remains composed and in control will always stand out. Attraction isn't about chasing a woman's signals. It's about understanding them, responding with confidence, and maintaining control of the interaction. When you master your voice, your presence, and your response, you don't just become someone she wants to talk to. You become someone she needs to hear more of. The power of presence and control in life and attraction. In both attraction and life, the most powerful man is the one who remains calm, composed, and in control. Whether in conversation, business, or relationships, the ability to observe before reacting, to lead with quiet confidence, and to master one's emotions is what separates extraordinary men from the rest. Too many men chase approval, react impulsively, or try too hard to impress, unknowingly weakening their presence. True strength isn't about aggression or dominance. It's about self-assurance, patience, and understanding the flow of interactions. A man who listens more than he speaks, who moves with certainty, and who understands the unspoken language of human connection naturally commands attention and respect. Instead of trying to force outcomes, learn to create an environment where people are drawn to you. This applies to dating, friendships, leadership, and every aspect of life. Attraction, like success, isn't about chasing. It's about becoming someone so grounded in his purpose that others can't help but be drawn in. Mastering your presence means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to lean in and when to step back. When you develop this level of control, you no longer hope for attention. You naturally command it.